The next pose in the forward fold sequence is called the cobbler's pose, or the butterfly pose, or Baddha Konasana in Sanskrit. This is a great pose, not just because it's a controlled forward bend, but also because it opens up the hips and stretches the muscles of your inner thighs. This pose pushes the blood into your pelvic region, your abdominal region, and the region of the lower back, thus stimulating the internal organs in that area. It is said to have a profound beneficial effect on your bladder, your kidneys, and your prostate. It also helps relieve sciatic pain and prevents hernia. And this is how it looks like. Once again, we will need our bolster here, so if your pelvis is not very flexible, you will strongly be advised to sit on a bolster, and bending through the knees, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Now, this distance between your groin and the feet really controls the oomph of this pose. The closer the feet are to your groin, the more challenging this pose becomes. The further away the feet are from your groin, the more you can bend forward. So experiment with that space. I'm going to start somewhere in the middle. So as my hips are elevated and feet are connecting, I'm going to let my knees naturally gravitate towards the floor. Now, if this is super uncomfortable, this is where you need your yoga blocks. You can simply place those blocks under your knees and have the blocks support your knees, and perhaps you can take the unpleasant or maybe unbearable stretch from the inside of your thighs and focus more on the forward fold. If you don't need yoga blocks, take them out. And once again, remember, you can experiment with this space between your feet and your groin. So the idea is very simple. We're going to press through our sitting bones, connecting the feet together, really grow tall in the spine. One way to do that is to really stretch upwards. Now, one tip here is to place your hands right on the soles of your feet and pretend that you're opening your feet like you would open the book. That has an additional driving action that opens up your hips, and it also allows you to pull, by flexing your biceps, to pull your body forward. Now, the general rule of thumb in forward folds is that when we are folding forwards, we're not curling into a ball, but we are folding forward with a straight back. Now, this is where a lot of students cheat. They start folding forward and curl their back. So avoid the temptation to do that, because you're really not doing anything other than exercising the stretch, other than stretching your neck. So really maintaining a tall back, flat back, and you do that by rolling back your shoulders, drawing your shoulder blades down your backside, and focusing on that hinging action in your hips. So imagine that your hips are like a door hinge, and you're just hinging forward. Now, it's perfectly fine if you're not going to go forward all the way and just prostrate yourself on the floor. You will eventually with some degree of practice and regularity, but not right now. So even if you need the support of your blocks and you can only go as far, that is already good enough. You should feel stretch on the inside of your thighs, and then as you are folding forward, you should now feel the stretch in your lower back and the upper back as well. So let's build this pose together. So find yourself sitting on a bolster or a pillow, and if you don't have a pillow, remember, you can also sit on a block, but then you wouldn't have blocks for your knees. Pressing the feet together, finding that distance, opening your feet like you would open a book, growing tall in your spine, pretending that you have hinges in your hips. And then the idea here is you want to, as you're folding forward, it's almost like you're trying to get your belly button closer to your feet. So not the head to your feet, but you're bringing the belly button into your feet. And it will be naturally, you'll find that naturally your inner thighs will start stretching. Eventually, you will make your way down onto your elbows and eventually, really eventually, maybe even reach the forehead down to the floor. But that will be later. For now, just focusing on folding forward, hinging at the hips, keeping the back straight, and finding that edge where you can feel just the right amount of balance between comfort and discomfort. You can fix your gaze in some point in the floor in front of you. And as I said in the beginning, in the intro part of today's class, forward folds are all about patience. It takes a little bit longer for us to get comfortable in these poses. It takes a little bit longer for our back to stretch. So you don't just go in and out and be done with it. No, you're actually going to lean into it and use gravity as your friend to start pulling your torso down closer and closer to the ground. You can actually feel that as you're in this pose. If you relax and turn your mind inwards, you can feel that your body, with every single breath, goes a little bit closer and closer to the ground. It's actually fun to watch in its own weird kind of a fun way. And then to release, straighten out. And what I like to do, because you probably feel a lot of stretch here, I grab my palms and close my knees with my hands, and then bang your knees a few times on the floor. And that is the cobbler's pose for you.